Hello students, this video we're going to be looking at 1.05 of whole numbers from MathSpace, which is related to writing mathematical statements with whole numbers. So again, if you haven't already gone to that section of your online book, you can do so through the side there or through the lesson that I've assigned to you. But once we're there, we need to look at the lesson. So the purpose here is we're going to be looking at how we can take essentially a worded problem, so a problem that is not in a mathematical formula or statement already, and turn that into that sort of statement. So for that, we're going to need to understand the different words that might represent the operations that we might do. So we can see here in this little chart, and we've got a similar chart already on our Schoolbox page, that there are different operations. So the four main ones: addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. And here are some words that you might see that mean those things. So for example, to increase something might mean to add to it. The total would also mean to add. If we look at groups of, or multiply, or times, they mean the multiplication operation. Ratio, split, share, quotient mean divide, and things like decrease, take away, less than, deduct could mean minus. And of course, there are lots of other words as well, but this is one chart that you might like to have available, as well as we have a chart already that we've looked at that also has keywords that might help you. So for example, if we look down this next section, here we can see the equation or the statement 4 plus 9. Here we can see it in numerical format, could be described in words as the sum of 4 and 9. So sum of meaning add together the values 4 and 9. Or for example, 4 plus 9, or 9 more than 4. So all of those statements mean the same thing mathematically, which is add the values 4 and 9 together. And there are some other examples here that you can have a look through. Now, it's very important to notice here in this careful box, again, that not all operations can be mixed up. So if you are adding numbers together or multiplying numbers together, you can switch those numbers around. So for example, 2 times 4 will give you the same answer as 4 times 2. The same as 2 plus 4 will give you the same answer as 4 plus 2. But that does not work for subtraction, and it does not work for division. So 2 divided by 4 is not the same as 4 divided by 2, and 2 minus 4 is not the same as 4 minus 2. So it's very, very important to understand that not all operations can have their values swapped around. So make sure you're paying attention to that. So let's scroll down and have a closer look at some of the practice questions that were provided. You can, of course, read through the rest of that yourself if you need to. So here, let's have a go at this particular problem. Now again, I'll be using my sketch pad to draw on the screen. Unfortunately, still using a mouse at this point, so my apologies again for my poor writing. But here we have, which of the following is described by 12 shared between 4? So here we have a number 12 in words, but still a number, and another number 4. So we can certainly suggest that we have a 12 and we have a 4. We now have to work out what the operation between those two is. So again, if we have a look, we have shared between. Now, the idea of sharing or sharing between indicates that we're doing a division. Okay, so we would have this. So 12 being shared between, divided by, or put into groups of 4. So our equation, or our statement really, is 12 divided by 4. So if we have a look at the options that were provided, we had 12 minus 4, not correct. 12 plus 4, not correct. 12 times 4, not correct. And here we have the correct one, 12 divided by 4. So let's tick that and try submit. And we got that correct. Well done to us. Let's go back, and then let's scroll back down to the bottom and have another look at the next example. Now, before we go into the next example, there are some other symbols that we might need. So here we have some inequality symbols. We are very used to the equality symbol, that equals symbol, where one side of an equation is equal to another, or one value is equal to another. But we also have these inequalities, and I'm pretty sure you should have seen most of these before, but they are the greater than, the less than, the greater than or equal to, the less than or equal to, the good old equal that we're used to, and the not equal to. So these symbols are really important when we are comparing values, that we can indicate greater than, less than, greater or equal to, less than or equal to, of course equal, and the not equal to. So we will see these symbols being used as well. So let's have a look at the practice question 2, and we'll go to, this one unfortunately doesn't have an interactive one for us to try, so we'll just do that here. So it says match the mathematical symbols to their worded descriptions. So what is the mathematical symbol for is greater than or equal to? So this one here is equal to, this one here is greater than, so I was looking at the left-hand side is greater than the right-hand side when we use these inequalities, but we want greater than or equal to. So it's not going to be these ones because these both indicate less than. This is not equal to, but here we have greater than, and the line underneath being part of the equals means or equal to. So I would certainly be suggesting that F in this case is the correct answer. It is greater than or equal to whatever's on the right hand side of that inequality statement. And then the part B says, what is the mathematical symbol for is not equal to? So here we have an equal sign that we're familiar with, and here we have an equal sign that's essentially crossed out, which is our not equal to. So this is not equal to. So whatever's on the left-hand side of this equal sign is not equal to whatever's on the right-hand side. So for example, we could say 4 is not equal to 2, and that would be correct. And the last sample question we have here does have a practice, so let's have a go at that one. So we need to write the following worded statement using mathematical symbols. So again, it's about interpreting the question. So I'm going to start by looking for the numbers that I can see. So I can see a number 16 there. And let me just get my sketch pad. So I've got a 16. And it says is greater than 11 plus 1. Now, there's a couple things here. We have an 11 plus 1. We don't want to write the number 12. We're trying to show this statement in mathematical terms. So we're not trying to find the answer to things, we're trying to find the statement. So we're trying to say 16 is greater than, so here's one of those inequalities. So 16, the thing on the left-hand side, is greater than. And I usually remember that just by looking at the big side. So the big open side is the bigger side, to the small pointy side must be the smaller value for it to be true. So 16 is going to be greater than 11, the number 11, plus 1. Okay, we're not trying to solve this. Technically, that would be the same as saying 16 is greater than 12, of course, 11 plus 1 being 12, but we're not trying to do this. We're trying to write this statement here, 16 is greater than 11 plus 1, mathematically. So this is the question, or sorry, the value that we'd like to see. So how do we put that into math space? Well, we have to enter it in. So we're going to start by simply typing the number 16. We can either use the click button here to choose the greater than, less than, etc. that we want, or you can also see underneath it's telling us what else we can press. So we want the greater than symbol, and we can actually press that on our keyboard. So if you have a look at your keyboard, down the bottom, sort of a little bit above your space bar, a little bit to the right of the M key, you'll see a greater than symbol, and you usually have to press Shift and greater than, okay, to get it to come up, or I said you can just do it from math space as well. So I just want one of them, and I want 11, so 11, and the same thing with the plus and minus. You can technically get it from the boxes available here, but we also have a plus on our keyboard. So again, up the top, just past the 0 in the number area, you can hold down Shift and press plus. Or if you happen to be working on a computer with a full keyboard and a number pad, there's usually a plus over there as well. But we want the plus symbol and the number 1. Okay, so that is what we want to have. Now I just want to demonstrate, if I put 12 here and I try to submit this, we will get a partially correct. So again, it is correct, it's gone green, it has got a tick, but it's only partially correct because again, like I said earlier, we want to write this exact statement out, not simplify it or put a different value. We wanted 11 plus 1. We want to have exactly what it says here. So if I try to mark this time, I get the full correct tick. So like I said earlier, just because you might be able to solve part of the equation. That's not what we're asked to do here. We're simply asked to write this statement out in our numerical format, in our mathematical format. Okay, so don't get ahead of yourself and try and solve things when you're not supposed to always. So let's close that one off. So there we go. We've had a look at the basic operations and some of the words that might relate to that. Again, it might be useful for you to print out this list or print out the other lists I provided and stick that in your book to help you remember or refer to. Again, you can have a further read through these in a bit more of your own time, remembering that addition and multiplication, we can swap things around. That's what it talks about here in the careful box. But subtraction and division, you can't swap the values around. They have to be in the right order for it to give you the answer you expect. And then we also talked about further down here, these inequality symbols. So greater than, less than, greater than or equal to, less than or equal to, good old equals that we know, and not equals to. So we've gone through quite a few things here. So you can now go off and have a go at the questions, or if you come back to this video for a bit of reminder of how things work, you can go back and have a bit more of a turn at the questions that you're up to.